Good morning, Bix Weir, road.com with your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga. Yes, sip of chaga. Chaga mushroom. What I do is I make a chaga mushroom tea from powder, put about half of it in my coffee cup and the other half with half decaf and half regular coffee. Tastes great, less filling, save your life. Chaga mushrooms. Chaga. If you want to know more about chaga and mushrooms, Cliff Hyde just posted a tweet. Introduction to antiviral mechanisms of medicinal mushrooms. Why am I doing this and taking my vitamin C 3 grams a day? Because this coronavirus thing ain't stopping. And you need to get your immune system in check because you're going to get it. Pretty much everybody's going to get it at some point. Hopefully it is not as bad here in America as it is in Asia. I don't know. Nobody knows. We do know the monetary system is going to take the mother of all hits. So that's what I'm going to focus on. You can find a ton of videos out there on how to protect yourself, stay healthy. Cliff High is talking about this every day. He knows how big it is. He's seen it in his data. It was called the sun disease, and it's going to get very bad. So hang on tight, my friends. Do what you can. I'm here on planet Earth to talk about the monetary system, to uncover the criminality and show you what's been going on. I don't like being assisted by a pandemic in the takedown of our old system, but if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. And they will fight it. So this is the takedown of the bad guys is a long, long takedown. Keep an eye on silver. Get your hands on some silver. Absolutely silver in your own possession. And then we will be putting those criminals in jail who've been rigging the markets for over 100 years. So the transition is happening. One thing I did want to say, I added a new tier of membership to the Road to Ruta. Everybody's been telling me for years, hey, why don't you have a 6-month membership for the private road, things like that. And I always rejected it, saying, hey, it's cheap on the day-to-day basis, but I have broken down, so I will add all new private road videos to the Road Warrior Plus membership. There's 2 memberships on Patreon. There's a $10 membership, $10 a month, that gets you posts about 1 or 2. Every day I'm going to post the repo stuff, which I'll get into in a second, on both of them. But also 1 or 2 per week on random things on the Road Warrior section. Road Warrior Plus, you get everything on the Road Warrior section, plus all the videos on the private road. So the Friday road trips and any special videos I do for the private road. And that's $25 a month, which is about the same price as the Road to Ruta membership. But if you play it all at once, you get access to all the archives, plus the Veritasium coin, or Veritasium token, which I'll talk about in a second, and the Road to Ruta silver coin, the best silver coin ever made, ever, bar none. There was 2 that were in the running, the U.S. Silver Eagle and the Liberty Girl coin, but that Road to Ruta coin is more symbolic of what's happening down the Road to Ruta. They are all individually numbered and double striped. You'll love this coin. All right, so join the Road Warrior Plus private road videos. I have actually posted Friday's road trip on there, so if you're interested in Pizzagate, all the stuff I can't talk about on YouTube, go check it out. But really interesting news, and I've been looking for this to update the repo information for those members. It came in worse than I expected. This is what they are doing. So worse than I expected. I expected the FICC bailouts. This is the kind of the clandestine bailouts of the system being guaranteed by the FICC, which is a division of the DTCC. I expected it to come in at about half of what it was the emergency day on December 31st. Oh my God, it's an emergency because it's end of the year and everybody has to balance their books because we're lying and cheating the rest of the quarter. So I said, December obviously is going to be a big one, And then January will probably be half that was my estimation, because they had been growing slowly. And voila, December came in at 278, and January came in at 236. So it's much more elevated than the half I thought. This is clearly what the banksters are doing to hide what's going on. Now, again, everybody has their theory on what the repo means. Why did rates jump to 10%? I've been saying the whole time, no, it's not about corporate taxes. No, it's not about anything else. Maybe keeping interest rates low, but that's normal. The Fed will do everything in their power to do that. But the key thing was that what happened in September of 2019 was actually a distrust of the counterparties in the repo market. These are all, supposed to be AAA companies, sound, solid companies, Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, Citibank, BlackRock, all these sound companies. The reality is they're not sound. They are failing. And it is proven because they had to go through the FICC to get bailouts. Not bailouts, they're guarantees. The FICC has no money to guarantee this stuff. FICC doesn't have $236 billion. What the FICC does is work with the DTCC to hide the rehypothecation of treasury bills, meaning 2 or 3 owners of the same treasury bill. I know it sounds crazy. I know it's like, how can they do that? How could 2 people own the same treasury bill? That's what the DTCC has encountered, and this is proof positive that that's what they're doing. Because you look at the FICC. The FICC is this orange bar right here, and it has been growing and growing and growing over the last year. What the FICC is, theoretically, is a central clearinghouse. Look at the jump. This will continue to jump. This is the Fed's plan, how to disguise the bailouts of the problem, which is the DTCC and rehypothecation of assets. This is the thing that Reggie Middleton was going to fix with Veritasium. This is why they were so angry at Reggie and threw the book at him. But I think Reggie will be a solution for the criminals in the future. Now, this might push everything towards gold and silver as far as taking down the bad guys, because how long can they do this with the FICC? Forever. The FICC is throwing out guarantees, but they have no money. FICC is not a financial institution. It's just a clearinghouse. They're trying to cover it up, cover up the crimes. So I will be following this on the private road and on Patreon. So there'll be a lot more on this. I'll be going in depth on this week. So keep an eye on that. So the answer to the big mystery, and then if you click on the FICC details and you drill down, you find out who is involved in this. And of course it is JP Morgan, $42 billion. JP Morgan needed the FICC guarantees of $42 billion. Fidelity is huge, $45 billion. Fidelity, that's the retirement accounts. Look out, my friends. Goldman Sachs, obviously, just your band of criminals. BlackRock's still in there. Now, BlackRock dropped down greatly. They went from $45 billion to $24 billion. They shouldn't even be in there. They're a freaking hedge fund, a criminal hedge fund. So Charles Schwab's in there at 13. So yeah, I will be following that and talking about that and it's absolutely being added to the count of the repo bailouts, because without this guarantee, none of these would have happened. The FICC is a division of the DTCC, which is a division of nobody except kind of the Fed has oversight over that. You take out the Fed, you take out the DTCC, you take out the FICC. There we have it. All right. Now, I'm not going to give much advice on how to kind of protect yourself from the coronavirus. That's up to you. It might peter out and be nothing. I don't think so. But the financial damage is done. And the financial damage is what I'm going to be talking about. Bloomberg. Now, the U.S. media is just starting to cover this. Millions of Chinese firms face collapse if banks don't act fast. Banks don't act fast. Banks are the ones collapsing as well. That's the problem. Virus outbreak puts millions of small businesses at risk. Banks have extended help to companies in direct path of the virus. Check out some of this stuff. Brigitte, a director of one of China's largest car dealers, is running out of options. Her firm's 100 outlets have been closed for about a month because of the coronavirus. Cash reserves are dwindling, and banks are reluctant to extend deadlines on billions of yuan in debt coming due over the next few months. There are also other creditors to think about. This is a mass bankruptcy, and banks can't handle that. Absolutely, they can't handle that. They are in deep, deep, deep doo-doo. And this is a quote: "If we can't buy back the bonds, it will be very, very bad," says Brigitte. Brigitte, yeah, yes, whose company has 10,000 employees and sells mid to high-end cars, brands such as BMWs. She asked that only her first name be used and that her firm not be identified because she isn't authorized to speak to the press. That's what happens in China. With much of the Chinese economy still idle as authorities try to contain an epidemic that's infected more than 75,000 people. It's millions of people, by the way. Millions of companies across the countries are in a race against the clock to stay afloat. Millions of companies are in trouble and begging the banks for extensions, for loans. Problem is the banks are in trouble too. The banks are massively fractionally reserved, meaning that for every $1 they have, they lend out 10. It's great going up, right? Everything goes up 10 times. Coming down, everything goes down 10 times. The banks are dying. A small survey of medium-sized Chinese companies conducted this month showed that a third of respondents only had enough cash to cover fixed expenses for a month. A third for a month, and they've been closed a month. They're done. This is going to go on in all throughout Asia, not just China. Korea, South Korea, Japan. It'll hit Europe, Africa, the United States, and all the banks are in trouble to start with. They're fighting for survival, and everybody's turning to the banks saying, "Oh, give me a break on my loans." But the banks are literally can't take it. They cannot take any hits, much less everybody taking a hit, because this is an everybody hit. Check this out. Just you want proof that China's in trouble? Quote, "Crazy amount of requests for private jet demand soars as elites flee Asia amid pandemic." So they're fleeing Asia on private jets, but they're bringing the pandemic all around the world. The outbreak of COVID-19 is negatively impacting business aviation networks across Southeast Asia and the world. However, there's a new emerging trend that says otherwise. Elites are dodging commercial flights to avoid large crowds. They have opted for private jets, reported the Financial Times. They've opted for private jets to get out of China, to run away from the disease. They're probably going to little islands that have no population. While top airline carriers in Asia warn of a significant drop on year-on-year performance in the first half of 2020, significant drop means zero. Due to the virus outbreak in China, South Korea, and Japan, the number of private jet flights between Hong Kong to Australia and North America soared in January by 214%. I'll guarantee you they aren't checking for coronavirus. Let's run away to America or Australia. And by the way, they're not checking when we arrive. Insane. Hang on, my friends. And if it wasn't just insane enough, Martin Armstrong had a great article on Bernie winning. If Bernie takes over, good night, banks. I mean, the banks must be absolutely shitting themselves, although they know they were in trouble anyway. This is just things to blame. You can blame Bernie, you can blame the pandemic, you can blame anything you want. It's getting ugly out there. It's getting really ugly. So yes, if Bernie takes over the Democrats and the economic system crashes, that's the only thing really Trump can hang his hat on, because he hasn't arrested all the criminals yet. He might, if the economy falls, I would think Trump would finally play his last ace and take down all the criminals he has the dirt on. But we'll find out. Bernie would be interesting as president. Yes, the economic system would crash. We all know that's probably a good thing because we need to start over. But his solution is socialism. That's not a good thing, in my opinion. It has never been a good thing. So, what are we going to do? We're screwed. If basically we're screwed. And if there is another president, I think Trump would win. And if things hold together by election time, Trump would obviously win. Nobody wants a socialist. There's just too much evidence of the failure of socialism, and the amount of people who die in socialism is unbelievable. So Bernie, now, he's not the solution, but he might be the solution to the economic system crashing. As if he is running against Trump and the system is crashing at the same time and people start looking to Bernie for answers, just another reason for everybody to run for the hills, run for gold, run for silver, run for cryptos. Let me say that again. Run for gold, run for silver, run for cryptos. And if you're investing in gold, if you want to buy as much gold as possible, the first thing you do is buy as much silver as possible. You can double the amount of gold you buy by buying silver now, because the silver gold ratio is at 90 to 1. And it'll go to 45 to 1 in a blink of an eye when it's freely traded. And then buy silver now, and then you can buy twice as much gold later if you really love gold. So if you really love gold, buy silver and then play the ratio game. I think it'll go with 4 to 1, maybe even 1 to 1, because there's 6 billion ounces of silver available and 6 billion ounces of gold available on planet Earth for investing purposes. Potentially. That's pulling a lot. I mean, the gold's pretty much all investable gold. It's in vaults. It's all ready to go. Silver, on the other hand, probably about, I'd say, 2 billion ounces of investable silver, maybe 3. All the ETFs have investable silver. JP Morgan has 1 billion ounces. But that's not much. I mean, if it's 3 billion ounces, that's a 2 to 1 ratio to gold. And it's 90 to 1 right now because of the manipulation. So if you're going to buy gold, I would say right now buy silver and then swap it for gold when the ratio tightens, which it will. So, I mean, if it goes to, say, 4 to 1, like I believe, that's, you can get like 10, 20, 30 times as much gold by buying silver. So if you want 10 ounces of gold now, buy all the silver you can, and you're going to end up with 30 ounces when you swap it back for 40. I'm doing the math in my head. It's not working out. All right. Also, again, Cliff High's got some great information. He just posted something on antiviral mechanisms for medicinal mushrooms. Really good article. Mykosan, MYKOSAN.com. Introduction to antiviral mechanisms of medicinal mushrooms. Got a great flow chart, how it works. And now's the time to take your chaga. Figure out how to get chaga in the powdered form. Make a tea. Drink the tea. Or in powder form, put it in a smoothie. Sprinkle it in with your every meal you have. Chaga is going to clean out the system, clean out the viruses. I'm not saying it's 100%. No, not at all. Nothing is. But it's a hell of a lot better than not doing anything, right? Okay. Again, this is Bix, roadtoroot.com. If you want to join the private road, go to roadtoroot.com, hit subscribe today, and I'll be sending you Veritasium token. Veritasium can save the world because it's clear that all the assets are being rehypothecated, meaning multiple owners. If you own Apple stock, you don't own your share. These brokerage houses are playing in pools. There's 2 or 3 owners of your specific share. It's 50 times worse than cryptos, gold and silver. Cryptos are probably the number one worst rehypothecated. Look at the volumes of Litecoin being traded. If you want to make the big home run, get yourself some Litecoin and take it off the exchanges if you can. I heard a lot of people are going down for maintenance on Litecoin. A lot of the exchanges going down for maintenance on Litecoin. When they go down for maintenance, Coinbase included, everybody included, that means they don't have the coins. They got to go find them. So get your coins off those exchanges after you buy them. Bix Weir, Road to Root. Talk to you later.